everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cockings.
He is Captain Foley.
And we're here today to talk about the premiere, the first episode of Season 4, Episode 1 of Lower Decks, called Twovix.
Called Voyager. Season 8, Episode 1, sort of. Finally back in the TNG-esque Trek that's not too dark, not too visually discontinuity, and they get things right. And this one has been a masterclass in getting things right. So back, Stuart. 9 weeks Lower Decks. Obviously, there's 2 that we're both watching and reviewing today. You'll see them at different times, but this is part of a long old 2 days for us, isn't it, Stuart? So, the big question. What did you think of... We just watched literally like 2 minutes ago each. What do you think of Season 4, Episode 1?
I really enjoyed it. Like you said, it was a Voyager like flashback episode with lots of nice little things added in. And some really great combination. Tullips. I didn't even write down the name of the other ones because it's just... They ended up becoming a big blob. But anyway... it was fun, and then got on the promotions I didn't see that coming, and poor Rutherford. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and it was a great way to kick off this season. So, how about you? Did you like it? I know you liked it. You're a Voyager fan.
You know, the question, we knew this, we'd seen the first scene, we knew Voyager. My question going was, how elaborate were they going to be, right? And normally, if this was season 1, you'd say, oh, they'd show the bridge and the ship exterior. Oh no! No good audience. Damn, they did a fine job. To the point of, you're left wondering, are we going to see Voyager again? Because, full engineering and full astrometrics and full... I mean, it was... I've rebuilt the set as part of Trek Short, so I know they did an incredibly good job. That's a lot of work. That's them having fun. Just raw fun. It was really fun. It was really good. I'm obviously left wondering, am I being suckered in by the fact that it's based on Voyager so hard? Is that why it's good? Would it have been good without that element? But then would the DS9 episode have been as good not being DS9? Is that a fair quantifier, right? Am I just enjoying it because of what it was? Did it go too far? Did it go not far enough? I'm processing, right? I do think the promotion thing at the end helped give it a really nice cherry on the top, which we often say, where's that last little bit of good? That's what left you with a, oh, we're curveballing the curveball. And then Mariner was double curveball, and then obviously the explodey last bit we knew from the trailers. So that end, I think, made it a better story. Really nice, because it left you thinking, oh, we're going past Lower Decks. It's Lower Decks show. Anything can happen. So we both debated they can kind of jokingly stay Lower Deckers for 9 seasons and just have it only be of like 2 years. But to boldly progress in a more meaningful way, it felt like, versus Boimler in season whatever, that felt really interesting, and that's going to shift the formula a lot, because ensigns do not do Lieutenant Junior grade work. That's actually a very different distinction. So the ending was really, really strong. Yeah, what do you think? Are we suckered in by the love of Voyager of the Trek, or is it a real enough story underneath it?
There's enough real enough Lower Deck stuff underneath there, because they do talk about when he got promoted before and things like that. So, but I think Voyager, that very much helped. But I think it's a good enough story on its own, honestly. That being said, the story is based on a Voyager episode, so it's one of those things, right?
And what did you think, going full Twovix, then going 2 full Twovix, then 3 full Twovix, then Twovix blob?
Didn't see that coming, but it was a nice little twist. Poor Stevens and the whale, oh my god. We did not get a Voyager cameo from anybody, which would have been another cherry on top. But like you said, that promotion scene at the end definitely was that cherry on top. So, and then to end it off with the Klingon thing is also quite a punch. Wonder how long that's going to take to resolve, if that's going to be resolved next episode, or if that's going to be resolved, down the road in the season. I'm not sure.
I assume the season arc, which I'm implied by the trailers, like the Packlids were. Yeah, the Twovix thing is, that is Mike McMahon, show creator, and being confident in knowing the Trek universe. Because that is a relatively genuinely controversial topic inside of Trek, and then inside of Voyager even more, with genuinely 2 sides of the argument. It's actually shockingly grey, and for them to approach it so on the head, and then develop it, they didn't go full into ethical, because it wasn't about that, but I like the fact that they quantified, we ain't in the Delta Quadrant. Because that one quantified, takes from being, we need to resolve this now because it's getting worse every minute, ethically, versus Starfleet is the best minds, it's okay if it takes them a few weeks to work it out. Like, that was nice to see the other side of the coin. And then obviously the Lower Decks twist is that that guy goes in crazy and then makes an army, which is really creative. Like that, to predict that, because it doesn't sound fan filmy. Like that sounds like as a twist, a genuine twist on the formula to make it fresh and then different. And then the Blob makes it ethically unnecessarily grey. Like as in, it's not. You need to save everybody. That was a good way of sort of removing that ethical decision. I kind of would like to play it with a single character, but then it would have been just a retread. So this became new while still being fully set up and fully organic. It was very clever. And Lodex when they're clever, right? And this is old formula entirely redone in a twist.
Yeah, T'Lyn joining the crew was nice. It was a good addition. She was kind of in part. She's like, I don't even really know anybody here, so it doesn't really bother me. But her solution that turned out to be a problem, and then was actually the actual solution, was pretty great. And then the whole Tilly, or not Tilly, Tendi and her, becoming friends when Tendi already thought they were friends. I thought that was great. For her to get promoted like right away, and her whole goal was to get back to the Vulcan Science Academy. It was nice.
I'm kind of pleased. You often talk about the unnecessary length to get somewhere when it could be simple. So to have a part of the crew and not feel abstract, and not even as if, who is this woman? Like if you haven't seen that one episode of Lower Decks, you'd be confused. But they approached like, oh, she's someone new who sort of knew. Like it was a well-paced, well-elemented thing. Everyone got a moment with her, give or take. Tenny's just happy with anybody, right? Like that doesn't feel unique to her, but obviously science buddies, that's, and new, it made sense. And I liked her. Obviously, Vulcan's a fun speech pattern. She did a good job as always from her two performances. A lot of fun potential. Nice to see the alternate Pip. That was fun. That was well done. I'm still shocked by the promotions. I'm genuinely hit by that, in a good way. A Mariner, that's because it would have been fine, right, to have 2 upper, 2 lieutenants, 2 not, and then to throw that bigger curveball in was really interesting.
It makes me wonder if Rutherford's going to get promoted by the end of the season as well, though.
But as you said, they've entire different quantifiers to what success is, right? Because they did science their way out, at medical science their way out. That's fair. They saved all the entire bridge stuff, and you could argue more people than we saw. And then the other people stopped a Borg / hollow insane clown / chaotica / crazed love-struck Irishman. Like, he did a lot of saving, right? So they're all justified. Although obviously it's built up, right? Like, they've done lots of savings. It's the cherry on top. So, but I'm wondering, will it be back to status quo at the end of the season, or is that a permanent change for all of them? I don't know.
Don't know. That's a good point. I do like the conversation at the end, though. They are still lower deckers, essentially. All the work with none of the... or all the responsibility with none of the real perks.
Well, that felt... audience, don't worry. Because they know that, right? We know that as big Trek fans. That's like more normal audience members. Like, don't worry, a rank, it's not fancy. But if it's 4 seasons, well, 3, and then, you can imagine, you could say by season 7 there'll be lieutenants and they're out of lower decks. Then it starts Star Trek Lower Decks Next Generation. They're lieutenants. The 20-season arc to captain.
I was really surprised that Rutherford didn't get a promotion, because he did kind of help save the day.
He broke the ship.
It was creative thinking, though.
He was remembering rather than creative. I mean, creative, yes, but they set that up.
Well, still, he saved the situation, essentially. But I think maybe by the end of the season he'll get a promotion for something in another episode. So
I mean, give him a whole episode, right? Like, let his character have a thing. Speaking of, unabashedly Borg Cube, in Alpha Quadrant, chilling out, as if it's nothing. That's a bold claim. In a good, I think it's interesting, right? Did you want them to get the Borg Cube and have that as be another element, or not?
Not really. I didn't really. I was surprised that they did the Borg thing, actually, and started infecting the ship. And even the mechanical salamanders are on board with that. So, what
a way to make him sentient, using a giant Borg thing, which didn't actually explain. It's just, I thought they were meant to be smaller than this. It's like, okay. But I do appreciate that, again, knowing the story, the concept of the show, they can do small jokes that don't pay off, except in the moment, right? So how much is the virus going to be played? I appreciate how much. I love the splitting, because we never saw that. That showed how dangerous they were, extra, right? Although I don't really buy they didn't catch one. There's a giant bulbous thing on the bridge. no chance, right? Like, zero chance that's being hidden. They didn't even play as if it was a tiny one. It was a full-sized one. But whatever, right? That's fine. Yeah, what do you think of the Voyager actual sets and the vibe? I mean, we've sort of skimmed to the story stuff. Seeing all that back.
Oh, it just looked beautiful. It's exactly as it should. I mean, there's nothing else to say. They did a fantastic job. I really like the idea of having Voyager landed as a display instead of before going to the museum and being in space. So that was kind of a nice little touch at the end there. It reminded me of the Bozeman, Montana scene. So, but perfect place to do it, right at Starfleet headquarters. I like that.
Yeah, and it especially makes sense for Voyager. They have to uncommission the enhancements. That's why it's taken a few years, because you have to remove the temporal stuff that can't be seen. That, you can't have some random Orion, some random Nausicaa just fly up to Voyager, scan 25th century tech, and then, you know what I mean? You have to remove all that stuff, make it vanilla, as they kind of implied. So that made sense, Voyager especially. I mean, how many things they improve? It's all classified, right? Two in notes, love the landing, that was really pretty. And of course, Voyager can land, so that's all good. And the scale was great. Like, that was, to see things in real world scale was phenomenal. But also, another canon point, museum in orbit of Earth. So at this point, the museum's at Earth, and then gets moved to Anthem Prime in Picard. So we've now got another era point of when, which would make sense, because obviously Earth Space Dock is, if it's in use, then it would be moved, and that'd be the new museum. So, museum on Earth, cool, makes sense, right? Would be nice to have seen, but at least we have another tie in the connection.
Yeah, and to bring back Chaotica and I can't remember the love interest name, and then Fear himself. Very interesting. And as soon as I appeared in the hallway, I'm like, well, what's going on? That's not holodeck. Got that answer right away.
Makes sense. Yeah, because you'd want to have Holo Crew Day, right? Where you can go hang out with Voyager people.
Holo recreations, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why it honestly was shocking there was no anything. They were begging for it, right? Or even to have a moment where, and this would have been odd but nice, if that museum day, if you just panned to the Paris section and you've got, without vocals, you've got Tom, B'Elanna and Miral just like going to the museum on the first day as a little moment. Or just like, because she's now, 2 or 3, so that would have been nice. Don't you have to just draw on a thing, animate a talk, just put them there. But that's, would have been distracting, I suppose. But that's where longer episodes would have been good, because that would have been a really nice moment. But I think, if you'd had any voice, you would have thought, why not Janeway? Would have been the obvious choice, right? Admiral Janeway should have been there, or Holo, but then it'd be Prodigy, and...
That's the other thing, it would have made sense, too, for that exhibit if they had, holographic, basically just tour guides showing different parts of the ship. So,
although I could see them saying, given all the sentient hologram stuff we've had to deal with, let's not put holograms on the ship, because what if they become sentient, steal Voyager, and then become a Holo Voyager? Maybe don't risk it. And also, if you were going to hire any of the Voyager cast, $50,000 for one line. The money was on the sets. I'd rather the sets than one line from Janeway, right? Because the sets were really good, really good. Although it's funny because I've built all the sets in 3D, and the Voyager bridge is huge, but you only ever see it from certain views, so it doesn't feel as big until you do wide, and you're like, damn, there's a lot of open space. So they did a lot of those unusual shots that you never really see.
They did, yeah. The bridge, there was a really wide shot of the bridge.
As soon as you start moving a CG camera, wow, the middle is big. Because obviously you go to Twovix station, you go to the turbo lift, it feels very broad, or Janeway and the helm. Yeah, so I knew it made sense, but I can imagine fans saying it's big, and that was correct. Oh yeah, and Fear and Chaotica was great. That was the only thing that's very fan-ness, because that didn't have to be 3, could have been 1 would have been enough, and that was when it's silly, but it's Lower Deck, it's a cartoon, right? And there were 3, it was fine, it's all good. I like Fear, Fear's fun, I like Fear.
That episode, but you know that already.
I do.
It was. I think it was great. In summation, it was a really fun episode. A great introduction into the season, and a definite callback. I mean, DS9 got its love last season. We got Voyager love this year. So who knows what's coming up?
I kind of wish we had a few more shots of Voyager flying, because that was a big chance, right? With a reason for it, obviously. I feel like we might see it again though, because they put a lot of time into that entire thing. But it's like, as I said, actually, I was like, oh, Bird of Prey, because they built these sets. When they invest in a good set, it pays off. That Bird of Prey was gorgeous because it was in season 2, right? The early season ones wasn't very good. They built a good one, boom, they just throw it in the scene, right? So they're building these assets for later in the potential seasons. They now just put in as if it's nothing, right? And they looked amazing. So I'm very glad they did that. Yeah, good season. Because and we were gushing about season 2 with the Hollow thing with all those random shuttles. Could we have pictured this was going to be where we went? Especially as in season 1, they kind of shied away from any existing designs. The stuff around the starbase was very basic and kitbashy, and everything was a bit weird. And this is like perfect, right? Just wow, we made it, right?
This is one of the things we would have suggested that we'd hope they do, and sure enough, it happens. So that's awesome.
It was a couple of years, and I'm okay with that.
Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, please hit like. Also, comment down below what you thought about this episode. And if you want to join us for our live, it'll be later today. So stay with us. Make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, hit that subscribe button to click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of those things that we do. Because we do a lot of great content, and we love new Trek being on. So please join us.
And there might be a couple of things on this episode.
Oh, I think there might be.
If Picard gave us a bridge and they gave us everything, even at Jeffrey's due for one scene. Crazy. Yes, and if you want to support what we do here, Patreon is a great way. It's monthly donation. Lets us do this all the time, all the shows, and in between the shows, also very important. Or join the channel on YouTube. There's a button. It says join. Click it. Okay, thanks for clicking it. Or one-time donations, PayPal, trekyards@hotmail.com, or super chatting on our live, where we talk about this show and others, which I was really excited about, because Lodex is the bomb. Or super thanks if you enjoyed what we do on this, done this video, or the other breakdowns. Then super thanks. Again, the button. There's a little. You'll find it on here on the page, right? Click it. Thanks in advance. And join us for our next video.
That's right. So, I just want to say thank you, Mr. McMahon, Mike McMahon, and team. Awesome job, and glad we're back. So until next time, he is Commander Cocky.
He's kind of early.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.